The Philippine government imposed a lockdown when the novel coronavirus pandemic broke out that pushed the country into one of its worst economic recession. Local survey shows at least 7 million families have experienced hunger at least once in the past 9 months, and that's a record high of more than 30%, the highest incidence of hunger since 2014.
Agricultural production is also suffering because of this pandemic. Warehouses are closed down. Now farmers have to queue for space at trading posts. The market is volatile and farmers are scared of what will happen next because of this lockdown. Others are just forced to sell their crops and goods at a cheap price just so they can earn even if it's still far from the investment they use for their crops.
The impact of this health crisis is causing particular suffering to those who had very little to begin with. Everyone says they will not die from the virus, but from starvation or hunger.
For many of us, land has been nothing more than the ground beneath our feet. From an economic viewpoint, land is the resource that encompasses the natural resources in production. In this sense, land is viewed as everything that exists within its boundaries, not just the ground itself. However, for our farmers, land means so much more. To them, land is so important because it gives them a hope for a better future by giving them the opportunity to provide for their families. The pandemic managed to pull the agricultural sector deeper into an abyss as it exacerbates socio-economic consequences. For one, due to strict quarantine guidelines, farmers' movements have become more controlled. Many of those farmers in the mountain provinces can no longer travel to the markets to sell their products. The demand for vegetables weakened due to closures and limited operations of other businesses. This leaves them no choice but to throw away their hard-grown food, leaving them to rot back at home. Some of them also mentioned how difficult it was to travel to the barangay where his farm was located, having to acquire several passes and go through numerous security checks.
Farming does not fall under the work-from-home category. Our farmers risk contracting the virus every single time they leave the safety of their homes in order to earn enough money to get food on the table. This is the sad reality many of them have to face in the midst of a global health crisis. Undeniably, this pandemic has unearned the many developmental challenges present in our current food system. However, we shouldn't allow these challenges to discourage us from taking that first step towards the pursuit of sustainable and regenerative agriculture. If anything, this pandemic gave us the opportunity to help our fellow farmers all from the confines of our homes.
These are the simple things that we can do to help our farmers. First, try urban gardening as your next new hobby. This acts as a great introduction to agriculture in general. This practice gives ordinary people the opportunity to help combat our current food security crisis. Second, another way we can help is through the practice of responsible consumerism. We can do research and ensure that the brands that we're buying don't initiate in any inhuman practices and use sustainable means to attain and manufacture their products. Third, stop wasting food. This shows how we respect and appreciate the hard works of the farmers in giving us essential and healthy foods. Fourth, support locally grown food. By visiting and buying food from our local residents and farmers, it will help them in earning extra income, but it also helps local communities. Fifth, as the youth, we can increase our involvement in this sector by first and foremost educating ourselves about the topic. With better understanding, we can help break previous stigmas and help encourage our fellow youth to participate. The last, let's band together and call for genuine agrarian reform in our country. Let's utilize our human rights in order to fight for a brighter future for us and our farmers. Let's continue to advocate for the fair distribution of land in our country.